The Santa Claus. This is a movie I can describe with two words: charming and annoying, but mostly charming at the same time. The plot of the film surrounds Scott becoming the new Santa after the real Santa falls off the roof of his house. And because Charlie was there, he tries to prove to everyone that his dad is the new Santa. However, no one believes Charlie's story. The relationships are mostly a giant positive here, but the one I like the most is with Charlie and Scott's bond, as they both know that Scott is actually Santa Claus, and since no one is believing Charlie's story, Scott doesn't want to break it to his son that Santa doesn't exist. The ending makes the relationship even better, as it includes their relationship very well as Charlie gets an opportunity to see his dad anytime he wants. And I will admit that ending was pretty nice. Tim Allen's performance is also really good here, and it's well done here. Then there's the film's issues. Aside from the CGI here being pretty cheap and uncanny at times, especially when Scott and Charlie are flying and when Scott's heading down the chimney, the film's biggest issue, well, intentional, I wasn't fond of the whole running joke where Charlie tells others, however, his mother and others think he's gone crazy. I get that's intended for something like this, but it's still annoying regardless, and kind of brings the film down a bit. Also, another thing I want to note here is that the setting for Santa's workshop is amazing and beautiful. You gotta give Disney credit for making something like this. Overall, there's nothing much to say about the Santa Claus. It's a passable movie, and and I do consider it a good movie. However, I wouldn't say it is as good as the other film as the next four on my list. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Home Alone 2 is definitely among the most underrated films, since the film had a more mixed reception from critics. Some enjoyed it for being a faithful sequel, while others criticized it for recreating a lot of material from the first film. However, I'm on the side of people that enjoyed it. Home Alone 2 brings back the character's original traits, humor, and awareness that we've all known and love. And it still has that comedic humor and some scene and that the original film had. And there were some scenes that are really funny, such as the scene where Tim Curry is checking in the room and then Kevin uses a clown float to fool him. And I found that really funny. Home Alone 2 does have some issues. Particularly, the understandable criticism is that it retrieves a lot of material from the original film, which others may view it as predictable. The violence also goes a bit too far at times, especially with the whole kerosene rope thing, which the original film, the violence was only played for laughs. Here, some of it can go a bit too far. But again, the booby traps are still the most enjoyable part of the movie. And of course, Harry and Marv. They're still enjoyable in this movie. In fact, not as enjoyable, probably more enjoyable than the first film, but again, and they even realize their mistakes and become smart in some scenes. And that's all I have to say about Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2 is a really underrated sequel that I've actually really enjoyed. Sure, it can go too far with the violence, and it does have a lot of predictable moments. However, it's just one of those films that is hard to hate, and you just end up enjoying it. And that's honestly what just happens to me. Oh well, not as good as the original Home Alone. I still think it's definitely an enjoyable sequel. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The Vacation franchise is honestly not that good in my opinion. Well, the first one was just okay, as the first half did have some enjoyable moments and some character bonding. The second half decided to go unnecessarily dark at points. Despite it being R-rated, some of the elements went a little too far. European Vacation was outright bad, and don't get us started with on the 2015 installment. As for Christmas Vacation, it's definitely the best out of the franchise. I think the reason why Christmas Vacation worked is because it was charming throughout the entire movie. Unlike the 1983 film that decided to took that unexpectedly dark turn. Clark is enjoyable, as easily enjoyable as he just wants a good Christmas. Yes, it's very similar to the other vacation films, and that's basically the premise of each film. But it's more enjoyable here as the conflict is well executed here, and there were some nice moments where Clark finally gets the Christmas lights up, and there were some nice moments where he gets to enjoy it with his family, and these moments are more nice and cute than the ones from the ending of the 1983 film. There are also some funny moments like the dog and the scroll chase, and again that ending was very nice to see. Overall, not much to say about Christmas Vacation. It easily stands out as being the best and only good movie in the Vacation franchise. Something I would say for the other Vacation franchises, but nonetheless, Christmas Vacation is still a really great movie, and I highly recommend you guys. But however, it's just one of those films that I really don't have that much to say here, but it's still a great movie. Elf. Elf is definitely up there as one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Though the comedic humor doesn't rise as much as other films, for a Christmas movie, it's definitely the second funniest. The film involves Buddy the elf, who ends up climbing to Santa's sack and ends up going to the North Pole. Ever since he was throughout his childhood, he was an elf. He was working as an elf. However, one day he ends up getting transported to New York to find his father, which turns out to be Walter. So, so yeah, let's get one thing out of the way. The characters themselves are very memorable here, and some of them even go through some development. Buddy is the cheerful and go-lucky elf who only wants to spend time with his father, Walter. And yes, while Walter and Buddy's relationship falls into a certain trope I hate, it's well executed here, since Walter tries to keep a lighter attitude for Buddy despite the fact that he doesn't know him very much. Doesn't know him much. The relationship with Buddy and the others do get better in the film, and there are some nice scenes where Buddy spend time with Jovi and Michael. And of course, as we already know, Elf is well known for its comedic humor. And while I wouldn't say this is the funniest movie I've ever seen, it's definitely one of the funniest movies. Especially, there's a lot of memorable lines, especially the part where Buddy yells, Santa. Santa's coming to town! Aside from that line, there's also some really funny moments, like this where Elf arrives at New York and he goofs around, and he also overhears Jovi, one of the employees in the mall, taking a shower while he's actually in the bathroom eavesdropping on her. That was really funny. Jovi's reaction was actually really funny. Overall, Elf is definitely among the funniest films I've ever seen. And well, it's not the funniest Christmas movie I've ever seen, because that's number one. It definitely deserves the second place on my ranking of every Christmas movie I saw. Now, what's number one? Well, a lot of you should know. Home Alone. John Hughes has made a lot of memorable classic films from the 80s, such as Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which the third one was considered a Thanksgiving classic. So when Home Alone hit theaters, it ended up being a critical and commercial success, and was widely regarded as one of the best Christmas movies of all time. And that's very understandable. Home Alone is definitely a 90s flick, a nostalgic 90s flick. In fact, this is one of the movies I ended up growing up watching. alongside other films like the SpongeBob movies or the Alvin and Chipmunks 7 film. Yeah, I like that. I actually like that movie when I was a young kid. Fight me. I don't like it today, but whatever. Enough of that. Let's get to Home Alone. Now, Home Alone involves Kevin McAllister, an 8-year-old boy who's been left home alone when his parents went on a trip to Florida. So now he has to spend the rest of the vacation home alone. However, two burglars by the name of Harry and Marv break in and attempt a robbery of his own house. So Kevin now has to booby trap the whole house in order to protect his own house. So let's get one thing out of the way. Let's get one thing out of the way. Home Alone is known for its comedic humor, and it's definitely one of the most funniest films of all time. Either from Kevin's creative tricks with an old movie, I think it's called like Angels with movie Souls, especially those scenes from the film were used to scare characters like the Pizza Delivery Man and Marv. However, with Marv, it was more comedic and funny since Kevin used firecrackers to explode it just to fool around with Marv. Then there are the characters. Kevin is an enjoyable protagonist. Yes, he kind of acted more of like a brat in the beginning, but he redeems himself later on and becomes more enjoyable character. Harry and Marv are easily the best characters in the movie. I'm sorry, but they are just so funny. Probably one of the funniest movie characters of all time. And then there's Marley. Kevin is what is honestly started off as frightening by Kevin's point of view. However, Kevin had a talk with him during the opera, and the scene with him and Marley was very nice to see and touching, and it was definitely a touching moment with Kevin and Marley. That's definitely among the best parts about the movie. And of course, the booby trap scenes, the part that the film is well known for. Aside from the scene with Kevin and Marley and Harry and Marv being funny, the booby traps are definitely a huge highlight, as they're very memorable, iconic, and creative at each one. Overall, there's not much I can say about Home Alone. What more can I say? Home Alone is just a nostalgic 90s flick that I highly recommend for this Christmas. And since Christmas comes around the corner, I suggest you guys watch it before the season's over. Overall, I consider Home Alone the absolute best Christmas movie of all time. Well, that's it for my video. I know I had a lot to get through, but hey, the video is finally out, and we can all enjoy our favorite Christmas flicks. And if you guys disagree with any of my opinions, that's perfectly fine. Anyways, guys, that's it for my Christmas ranking. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be sure to post more in the upcoming year. So we'll see you guys next time, and have a Merry Christmas, everyone.